Hey, vinyl community and YouTubers, this is Chris doing a music update video. I think this will be, don't think there's any classical included in this, but to start it off, a couple of videos that I've watched recently. Steve Carlson did one where he was announcing he's got his top 100 go-to albums put together, and he did a pre-go-to list, which was CDs only, because he had a rule that only vinyl could make it onto his official go-to list. So I didn't know most of the ones that he showed, but this was the only one I think that I did, the Stevie Ray Vaughan In Step. So that was, but it looks like it'll be an interesting series when Steve gets going. I mean, his preview of it was pretty good. So, also recently I was excited to, I found this Doc Watson album for sale. Didn't recognize it. It had a dinged corner, so it was a return, and so got it pretty cheap. And a 2 LP set on the Owsley Stanley Foundation put this out. So I was excited that I got that at a reasonable price, but then I watched Mazzy at Norman Masloff, and he was showing box sets, so he pulled out a box set of this. So this, when I compared the two, this is one day out of a 4-night stand, I guess, that Doc Watson and his son Merle had at the boarding house in San Francisco. So Mazzy was showing the 4 CD box set, and along that lines I saw that there was a Old and in the Way box set, 4 CDs, which, again, recordings at the boarding house. This is my, I guess it's an original, 1975, Old and in the Way on Rounder Records, Jerry Garcia, Vassar Clements, and others. But I looked at that box set, and half of it was recordings from this session, which was October 8th, 73 or 75, I forget. And then the other ones were a week earlier on October 1st. And I already have that one. And then I picked up these other 2 CDs on Acoustic Sounds, which are the rest of the sessions from October 8, 73. So the only thing I would be gaining would be the October 1st sessions, which I've got a digital copy of those. So that one, if I find it cheap enough, I might get it, but I just combined those 2 into this double CD pack. So that one I'm on the fence about unless it gets really a real bargain. So also along that line, I found this Doc Watson and Gene Ritchie at Folk City on the Verve label. So the theme of this video sort of is guitar oriented or string based. So this is 63, I think. Yeah. And then this other Doc Watson, Doc and Merle's guitar album. This is 1983 on Flying Fish. And I got this thing here, Alan Mundy's Festival Favorites played on 5-string banjo, Volume 2. So this is Alan Mundy, also has Roland White, Clarence White's brother, so that's half of Country Gazette, who would play halftime shows on Flying Burrito Brother concerts, I think, if I remember right. But so this is a group put together called the Texcahoma New Mexiline Ramblers. And this is on Ridge Runner label, 1980. And then I filled in a couple of gaps in Doug Kershaw collection. So here's Devil's Elbow. These are mid to late 70s, I think. Mama Kershaw's Boy. These were in the $2 to $2.50 range for these. Alive and Pickin', Doug Kershaw. Fiddler. And maybe the sub category or theme here is country. But Byron Berline and Sundance Live at McCabe's in LA, I think. So this is 1977 on Tacoma label. Home to John Fahey, among others. So Brian Berline on fiddle, John McCrary on guitar. Dan Crary. Another folkish album. A.L. Lloyd, English Drinking Songs on Riverside. This is from, don't remember, early 60s. Here's the Riverside label. So, accompanied by Al Jeffrey on banjo and harmonica and Alf Edwards on concertina. And then I was glad to get this, Cumberland 3. This is Civil War Almanac. He did 2 volumes in this. One was the Yanks, and this is volume 2, the Rebels. So both sides of the Civil War. This is John Stewart's band before he joined Kingston Trio. So I see one of the songs on here is Goober Peas, which either followed him to Kingston Trios or it was just a folk standard around that time. This is like, I think, 1960 or early 60s. On the this is on Roulette. And when I got that, I also got this other historically themed album by John Stewart, Centennial, part of the American Journey series, which I think I have that series on a CD or a CD set. So there's John there on the back, on Appleseed, no, on Homecoming Records. $1984. And this one got accidentally sent to me, so the seller just said keep it. It's a British compilation of John Stewart material on RCA, but it does include one previously unreleased track called Rodeo Mary. So that was a nice bonus for buying from that seller. And then I got this B.J. Thomas. I think this is either his first or second album. Tomorrow Never Comes on the Scepter label. Early 60s. Huey Moo was the producer on this, who also did early Sir Douglas Quintet, and was responsible for Crazy Cajun label. Then I got this Ricky Nelson album, Bright Lights and Country Music. So he was switching away from the teeny bopper type stuff, moving towards country. I had originally got this as part of a twofer, which also includes another album called Country Fever, 66, 67. So I ended up getting this on the Decca label. So he's covering, different people like Hank Williams, Willie Nelson, as he moves into country more. So that was nice. Got this solo guitar album, Robbie Bashow, Falconer's Arms 2. Also on the Tacoma label. Don't remember which press this is. Semi-early one. 1967 was the original release date. And Robin Williamson and his merry band. Robin Williamson from Incredible String Band. This is on Flying Fish, where he did a series of albums. Folky albums. 1977. And then I picked this up and realized I had it in a CD format, but I ended up buying it again on LP, primarily because Richard Thompson had rejoined Fairport Convention, 1981, I think, or 82. Live at Broughton Castle, August 81. Moat on the Ledge. Play on words, I think, for one of their songs, Meat on the Ledge, or Meet Me. Wormwood Records. And then this Lee Hazelwood album, 20th Century Lee, yeah. On a European RCA label. (1976) Lee Hazelwood. John Berberian, Ode Artistry, on Mainstream. So Middle Eastern sounding music. Forget again what this, mid-60s, 66, 67 maybe. John Renbourn, so more in the sort of folky vein. John Renbourn Group on Shanachie. I think this is late 70s. 77. And got this at the same time. I think this is 83. Nine Maidens. And this was called A Maid in Bedlam. Ouch. On Making Waves. And getting down towards the end, the Johnstons. So Paul Brady was what caught my eye as that, and the other half, Adrian Johnston. So the Johnstons. On this Mercury label, 1972. This one I didn't really know anything about. David Rea, Slewfoot. But then I looked at all the supporting musicians, so all these West Coast people, Keith and Donna Gottschalks, Bob Weir, Spencer Dryden, John Kahn, who was on those Old and in the Way albums, Charles Lloyd on saxophone, Richard Green on fiddle, Matthew Kelly from Kingfish, David Nelson, Buddy Cage. So we've got new Riders of the Purple Sage there, influence. So that probably defines the sound. And this solo guitar album, Alan Licht. I've had him on another one with Lauren Connors, but here sort of an experimental drone solo guitar on that custom label there. Family Vineyard. This is called YMCA, which is the track that covers both sides of this. And then the final one, Thurston Moore, 12-string Meditations for Jack Rose on the VDSQ label, Vindu Select Qualität. So solo guitar, early 2010. And I think most of the titles are based on beers. There's the label. And there's Jack Rose in front of a bunch of beer bottles. So, reference to the song titles. So Jack Rose was put out some solo guitar albums. He was also a member of Pelt. So here's the like a 2003, 2005 album, Ayahuasca. And here's his first two EPs that he put out, two originals, Red Horse, White Mule, and Opium Music. So put those out, compiled them onto this one CD. So there's some photos of him, Jack, playing guitar. There's the CD. There's him playing lap guitar. And then another album he put out, Kensington Blues. So that was it on this guitar-oriented, guitar/folk themed video. So thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you later.